This episode is brought to you by City Connections and Trump Mortgage.
Good day, I'm Abby Overton and this is The Real Deal. Tishman Speyer Properties made yet another splash this week, announcing that it was involved in the record-setting $1.8 billion sale of a Midtown tower. In other news, the Rex & Associates merger drama finally came to a close, and uproar grew over developer Abby Rosen's plan to build a 31-story tower on the Upper East Side. But first, a Real Deal special report. This month, as is the case every December, the hot topic on Wall Street is year-end bonuses, which are expected to rise for the fourth year in a row. According to the New York Times, payouts could rise anywhere from 10% to more than 20% over their 2005 levels. Some say the bonus numbers will tick up at an even greater rate. Either way, inflated Wall Street bonuses are welcome news for the city's stifled residential real estate community, which for months has been preparing for what is known as the bonus bump, an annual increase in sales that some say is directly linked to Wall Street bonuses. To discuss this subject further, we have with us Wendy Maitland. Ms. Maitland is a vice president at Corcoran Group Real Estate and president of Corcoran's Maitland Group, a team whose 2006 sales will top $100 million. Ms. Maitland, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So what do you think? Is there really such a thing as a bonus bump? Do happenings on Wall Street affect your business?
Well, the answer to the question is absolutely. And sometimes it's not as obvious the way that it's going to affect the market as one thinks. But there is absolutely an intimate connection between Wall Street activity and the real estate market, particularly in Manhattan.
So this year, it sounds like the bonus numbers will be up. What have you heard in terms of increases?
Word on the street is that it'll be at least 15, more likely 25% average increase over 2005 bonuses, so that is really significant. And whereas last year there was much talk and highly touted huge bonuses that were going to boost the market, it didn't actually pan out to happen as it was thought to happen last year when the market was already at unprecedented highs. This year is a different story. This year I can say that the bonus bump, as it's called, is evident all over the market absolutely right now.
Is there any specific way in which the behavior of Wall Street buyers has changed this year versus last?
Absolutely. Little known fact is that Wall Street buyers are in fact creatures of habit. And the secret is that this year, for the first time, they are the ones who are saying that they anticipate a run-up in prices, which have been relatively soft and flat, giving them an advantage at this point. So they're trying to get in, get their contract signed in the dead of December before the prices run up when the bonuses really start coming out. So that's something that I take seriously. Also, a fact that we should mention is that European buyers are very, very active, particularly European Wall Street buyers, because the dollar is so weak right now. Everything out there right now is a bargain to anybody who's on Wall Street and working with foreign currency. So we are seeing that firsthand every day, all day.
What sector of the market is being affected by these bonuses in terms of price range?
Well, since Wall Street employees and traders are getting bonuses at all levels, I'd say it's starting at about $1 million. Under $1 million, the market isn't, I don't see it being affected as much. $1 million to $2 million is being affected. $2 million to $5 million is definitely, there's a lot of activity that's increased even since November 15th, since bonuses have started to come in, and over $5 million, absolutely.
Have more people been out looking at properties since the bonus forecasts came out last month?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's striking this year because in the months before this year, in terms of open house attendance and buyers going out to look at properties, September and October were very, very slow to pick up in the traditional fall surge, which happens every year. It didn't quite happen as dramatically this year, and there was a softening in the amount of activity. Prices didn't go down, but have been more staying flat. Since about a week before Thanksgiving, open houses have been packed. at all my listings and at all my group's listings. In fact, the market has been so busy and we've been so busy making deals, showing properties, and working with buyers that we don't have time to do things that we'd love to do, for instance, going to the movies.
Do Wall Streeters favor condos or co-ops?
Absolutely, Abby, they're favoring condos over co-ops right now. Co-ops are still moving and the inventory is there. We're showing them, but when it comes down to a choice, a Wall Streeter will 99% of the time go for a condo over a co-op, all things being equal. And the reason being that a 10% deposit is generally what's required down on a condo, whereas a co-op can require anywhere from 20 to 30 or even 50% down in some cases, and that's a lot of cash to take out of play in the market.
Interesting insights. Wendy Maitland, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Tishman Speyer Properties has agreed to sell their 41-story skyscraper at 666 Fifth Avenue to the Kushner family for $1.8 billion. The price is triple what Tishman Speyer paid for the tower 6 years ago, and the highest price ever paid in the United States for a single office building. The previous record was set last year when Tishman Speyer bought the MetLife building for $1.72 billion. The Real Estate Board of New York is unhappy about changes to the 421A tax abatement clause proposed by Mayor Bloomberg and City Council Speaker Christine Quinn. Under the latest proposal, developers building in the most desirable neighborhoods in Manhattan and the boroughs would be required to set aside 20% of the units in their projects for affordable housing. REBNY's alternative would allow developers to receive the 421A tax breaks so long as they build off-site affordable units within the same community board jurisdiction or within half a mile of their projects. Opponents of developer Abby Rosen's proposed 31-story glass tower in the Upper East Side Historic District submitted a 2,500 signature petition to the City Landmarks Commission recently, calling on the body to reject the tower plan. In response, Rosen has reached out to well-heeled friends, asking them to come out in support of his project. Vogue editor Anna Wintour, artist Jeff Koons, Betsy Bloomingdale, and businessman Ron Perlman are among Rosen's rich and famous supporters. After a month-long drama that saw shareholder protests and hostile bids initiated and then withdrawn, Rex & Associates Realty Corporation shareholders have given the green light to a merger with SL Green Realty Corporation. The announcement came soon after a hostile bid by investor Carl Icahn and developer Henry Macklowe fell apart when Macklowe backed out of the partnership. Icahn then made a solo bid to acquire Rexon, but shareholders rejected it. The prospect of an SL Green merger was not appealing to many shareholders. Nonetheless, proponents eked out the two-thirds majority needed to approve the merger of the two giant firms. The Environmental Protection Agency is set to begin testing homes and businesses in Lower Manhattan for toxic air and dust that may still circulate in the neighborhood more than 5 years after the September 11th attacks. If the EPA finds high levels of toxins, residents and owners in the area may request inspection and cleanup of their properties. A bit of good news for riders of the G train. The MTA's 2007 budget proposes extending the line south to Park Slope. The announcement came as a pleasant surprise to many riders of the MTA's stepchild of a subway line, as there had been talk earlier this year of further cutbacks to G service. The G isn't the only subway line the city plans to extend. On Manhattan's far west side, a more complex extension plan now has money backing. The city sold $2 billion in bonds recently to fund the extension of the number 7 line to 11th Avenue and 34th Street. With the finances in place, Deputy Mayor Daniel Doctoroff says the project is, quote, definitely going ahead. The city has halted a plan to build 4 public schools in the South Bronx amid speculation that the site on which they hoped to build is hopelessly contaminated with mercury and other toxins. Locals fear the site might not be clean enough to host schools even after officials complete a $30 million environmental remediation, which would include the installation of 3 feet of uncontaminated topsoil. Toll Brothers Inc., the nation's largest builder of luxury homes, says the U.S. housing market may have reached its bottom. Home sales nationwide have lost steam in the second half of 2006, causing the cancellation of many residential building projects. Toll Brothers has good reason to hope the market has found its bottom. The company's net income for the 3-month period ending October 31st fell 44% against figures from the same period last year. A Florida company has dropped its plan to build an 82,000-seat NASCAR speedway near Staten Island's Goethals Bridge on the site of a former oil tank farm. Borough residents, who say Staten Island's roads are already too congested, have long opposed the plan. Finally this week, the Yonkers waterfront may soon be getting a facelift. A local developer has announced a $900 million plan to rehabilitate a 16-acre property along the Hudson River in that city. American Holdings, Inc. has submitted its plans for the Point Street Landing project, a mixed-use development that would feature more than 1,100 residential units, along with office and retail space. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Real Deals webcast. Please join us next week for the latest real estate news. I'm Abby Overton, and this is The Real Deal.